Okay, welcome back, everyone. We are here live in Silicon Valley for day 2 of coverage of Strata Hadoop BigDataSV, which is our event, in conjunction with Strata Hadoop. We're right across the street at the Fairmont Hotel. This is theCUBE, SiliconANGLE's flagship program, where we go out to the events and extract the signal from the noise. I'm John Furrier with my co-host, Peter Burris, Head of Research at SiliconANGLE Media and Wikibon. Our next guest is Praveen Kankariya, CEO, Impetus Technologies, and Vineet, Tyagi, CTO. Welcome to theCUBE. Welcome back to theCUBE, and welcome to theCUBE first time.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
So we had a chat last time here on theCUBE about the challenges of Hadoop. And this is something that has come up. It's every show. It's like there's got to go faster. It's got to be hardened. And one of the things that you guys are doing, I'd like to get your perspective on it, is everyone sees the value of Hadoop. And certainly some things have changed. MapReduce kind of gets sunsetted, and now Spark's in the front and center. But they understand the use case. They understand the big picture. You store a bunch of stuff in batch, and then you got to get some insights out of it. That sounds really easy, or not. So it depends. Share with us the thoughts on where you're at. And we talked about it before. I don't want to rehash too much, but share with the folks out there what you guys do, because you guys are in the middle of all the action. What's the update?
So at a 100,000-foot level, John. One is, Hadoop came out as a very promising option for processing your unstructured data. And it's not that enterprises are fully there in processing all their unstructured data. That's also a journey that they've begun on. And some are a little far ahead, and some are behind. Some have outsourced the problem to your social media analytics companies and whatnot. So that's one area. Then the second area is, a lot of companies started looking at Hadoop as an option for processing their structured data as well, data warehouse or what have you. And there also there are a lot of gaps. The gaps are narrowing, conference to conference when I get to see you, but still the gaps are...
It's hard. I mean, it's heavy lifting involved. There's a different skill set. There's some talent issues. But, there's also some transitions. We had a great chat earlier today around some of the transitional things going on around Hadoop. Certainly the ecosystem's going beyond Hadoop. The use cases are significantly, sometimes vertically specialized, prepackaged apps or whatnot. The data layer, the new glue, the new middleware is there. So that, all these things are around where the data is stored. There's a lot of things changing in that area. How it's processed, things are changing. All flash, and then ultimately the management. It could be a nightmare for a customer to think about doing that. So given that, what have you guys found as a best practice to tackle getting Hadoop and equivalent systems out there to provide that kind of value?
So largely, I think what we have been doing for our customers is looking at what are these gaps. So Hadoop it's a very strong contender. We believe in it. But there are gaps, and how do we bridge those gaps for them? How rapidly can we bridge the gaps? So we've just
Which gaps are you seeing, for instance?
For example, talk of structured data. So even to use Hadoop as a viable modern data warehouse, there are a lot of things missing. And so we have actually, we've spent a lot of time and effort to examine what can we do in a hurry to accelerate this migration, because enterprises are clamoring. I'm sure countless guests before me have said this, that the cost of your legacy data warehouses is becoming unaffordable.
The word we heard was retrofit. Retrofit jobs. So a lot of people are retrofitting their infrastructure to kind of fit this modern era.
And the other word we heard was failure, pretty frequently.
Yeah. So the people are, need...
some are going to fail along the way.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of gaps in what we've been seeing working with our customers, as Praveen was saying earlier, is that the gaps are in several areas. One is that the distributions are there, and they're doing a good job, of bringing up Hadoop and making it viable. But it only comes as far.
Yeah.
And we've been watching at the show, right? Every year the show gets bigger. 200 companies became 400 companies. And that's one of the biggest challenges that everybody has, the customers that we're working with. In order to build a viable solution and fill the gaps, they have to look at the hard part of assessing what's the right solution. And then they have to choose and work with a chosen solution. They have to bring it in. And what's also happening is that for each of these companies brings a certain strength which solves a particular gap, but leaves the other open. So you got to then bring in some more. And then the onus is on the enterprise to manage everything and stitch everything together and make Hadoop a viable warehouse. And that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare to manage. Even from the perspective of these gaps getting filled up, how do you interoperate? How do you look at that? A warehouse is supposed to be a very tied together, a kind of a homogeneous, well orchestrated, tied with the data kind of a machine. And when you bring in multiple solutions, that's not happening clearly.
So you guys, your lineage is more as a services company and trying to create the actual results that people are looking for with these technologies. So effectively, it sounds like what you're saying is that you would get contracted to generate the results. Then you'd find that you'd spend an enormous amount of money with the customer in the actual infrastructure itself, trying to get it to work. So you've turned that experience into a product kit that you think is just really optimized for accelerating to the results. So is that right?
Absolutely, right on the money. So we were reinventing the wheel for every customer, and we would also, and we still do, we give our feedback to all the distro guys. But at some point we realized that we should be a cause in the matter, take matters in our own hands, and because they're coming from, they started at the storage layer, the compute layer, and they're coming out from there, and they're every year they're adding more and more abstractions and raising the bar, and we started from the customer and we've started coming down. So we're
Meeting in the middle.
Yeah, meeting in the middle. Yeah.
So how does that
But our customers are benefiting from this. Now, there may be some overlaps between what we do and what they're going to do. We'll see how that plays out. But
So how does that translate into time to deliver? So with the old way, it took how long? And using your own tool set with your own people and the experience associated with it, it's happening how much faster?
So going back 3-4 years ago, customers were coming to us and asking us, I've got 50,000 queries to be migrated to Hive. And we would go and ask our engineers, and it was a boring exercise even for the engineers working on it. I mean, 5% of the queries were challenging to migrate and required real engineering skills. The rest were just, it was a monotonous exercise. But the cost was too high. I mean, these projects were taking 9 months, 10 months. And even after we had done the migration, there were a lot of challenges. The governance models exactly did not map. So it was just a nightmare. The existing BI infrastructure could not really leverage all of this seamlessly. So fast forward, actually, we went back and over the last 2 years, we worked on a tool to migrate all of these workloads automatically. So now we're going into these accounts and we're doing 80% of the migration in days and weeks, powered by our tool. And the 20%, which is problematic, but our tool flags the areas which require manual, smart attention, and we go in and take care of that. And so we can finish.
You automate a lot of the heavy lifting.
So we've just automated. And our automation is only increasing on a weekly basis.
Is that the announcement you guys had? I saw it in the news there. You guys have an announcement. Was that
Yes.
Vineet, can you share the announcement?
Yeah. So the announcement that we made, as Praveen said earlier, is that we are announcing the data warehouse modernization practice, which is powered by our toolset. And the toolset is proven, built on best practices, our methodology, years of our learning that we've had with Hadoop. And what it is doing for customers is that it's delivering them immediate ROI. One of the biggest area where customers are struggling is they're going on a dime and they're going on faith to invest in Hadoop, and they're looking for ROI.
They get stuck in the mud. The wheels aren't turning.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So, and they're spinning their wheels. They're trying to find the right use case, and businesses coming and saying, we invested $20 million in getting all the data in Hadoop.
You've seen customers with a $20 million investment in Hadoop?
Oh, yes, we've seen some of the, where overall the program has been, over a couple of years, the investment has been upwards. This is not just, this is hardware, software, and services
total
all
cost of
together,
ownership.
all put together. And that's a tremendous amount of money, which is going to be realized over a few years, right?
So this practice, this is the migration you're talking about, the tools. So this is part of the practice. So you come in and say, hey, the other guys offer 9 months, we do 9 weeks, or whatever the number is, right? Is that the kind of order of magnitude, 9 months, 9 weeks? Can you?
Absolutely.
At least
it can be 9 months or more.
on the 9 weeks.
Yeah. 9 months or more.
Is the competition.
It's the competition. If you go the traditional way and just do the whole thing manually. And if you can hire 50 smart programmers.
And you guys are in a lot of markets. You mentioned healthcare and whatnot. So these are verticals, right? So you go in, you work from the top of the stack down, which you mentioned. I like that. And there might be some gaps, but you taking the customer approach. You look at the customer. Are these prepackaged apps? They're prepackaged dashboards, single view into the data. Is that what they're looking for? What are these customers looking for? I mean, in these verticals. I mean, obviously different verticals have different requirements. So I'm sure that's where you guys add value as you come in and customize, if you will.
So in the Fortune 100, we're not going with templatized applications, so to speak. We're actually taking these tools and platforms so that we can accelerate building of their applications. Because what we're finding is their applications are, their context is very unique from customer to customer. And it has to be really tuned to work in their setting.
And what's been the impact that you've seen with your customers that you've gone in and done this with?
One of our best customers, I think we have done over 100 use cases.
And what kind of impact to their business?
We've got nearly 200 people working on, and the impact is massive. I mean, we just did one. We moved their fraud management system, which is a massive rules-based system, to a machine learning-based system running on Hadoop. And in 6 months, they came back and they said they'd cut down $180 million worth of false positives.
Wow.
So one is that.
Instant
One
fraud
is
and
instant
low-hanging
saving.
fruit.
But then the second saving is, you have far fewer dissatisfied customers who are not using their competitors. So.
Yeah, and there's so many signals out there that they can use.
Yes.
So you guys are modernizing, essentially, using Hadoop as a way to get instance. They got their attention on, Hadoop's an indicator if the customer's saying. If they're interested in Hadoop, they're looking for a new way.
Absolutely.
And then you say, hey, okay, we'll come in, clean up. Yeah. Right? You sweep up the floor.
And
just so we're clear, I want to make sure I'm clear about one thing. So we have a fraud detection system today, probably running on a traditional data warehouse where the infrastructure may be 5, 8, 10, 12 years old.
Absolutely.
And what you're doing is you're saying, hey, let's bring this application. We know it's going to become more embedded in other business activities, business processes. We know you're going to want to bring fraud or more additional types of data into the fraud detection system so that you can improve its reliability, but you're not going to be able to do that on this old infrastructure. Let's move it to a new infrastructure. So the first part of the value proposition is let's move it to the new infrastructure.
Absolutely.
That's going to create new options for how you embed this within the rest of your business.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is you can take 12 months or more to do this because of the enormous complexity, or you can use this toolkit to move stuff naturally, and you're getting significant paybacks. But still, how many clients can you handle at a time with this? Does it really happen that automatically, or is it still relatively labor intensive on the part of your guys?
actually, today, at this very moment, it's 80% less labor intensive than it was 2 years ago. And we're working hard
For
to
you
drive it
or
down.
just the customer in general?
For our customer and for us, because there are not unlimited people we can hire, smart people we can hire. So even we have limitations, and we are trying to drive up the value we can create per employee, and our customers are benefiting from it as well. So it's a very happy situation.
So your customers get modern infrastructure, you get faster deployment, and you can pursue more deals.
Yeah. And we can save them immediate costs, right?
And
We
they get
can
a
do it
cheaper
cost
result,
efficiently, time efficiently.
cheaper current result with new options in the
So
future.
payback is way less than 6 months on a migration exercise, including the one-time cost of migration.
Got it.
Yeah, so you guys essentially, everyone wins.
Yes.
Everyone wins. Well, congratulations. Great to see you again. I was very
Thank you,
impressed
John.
with you guys last time. Again, this is a classic example of digital transformation.
Absolutely.
First step is just, get the modern factory going of data. And you guys are doing that. So congratulations, Praveen and Vineet. Thank you so much for joining theCUBE. We'll be right back with more. We have a big party tonight. We have a big presentation. Peter as an analyst. We're going to have customers. We're going to have people in the industry. And of course, industry reception here at the Fairmont. If you're in San Jose and watching this and part of the CUBE community, come down and join us. We're at the Fairmont Ballroom, part of Strata Hadoop. We'll be right back with more coverage after this short break.